listeners. Welcome to another episode of Romance Unraveled. This is your host, Jacob Bozen.
And I'm your co-host, Jamie Lobato.
And as a new announcement, you can contribute financially to the success of the show. So if you go on our link tree on our social media platforms of Instagram and Facebook, you can buy us a coffee, and this goes to promotion, editing costs, and any other associated costs. It is buy me a coffee on the link there. It should be in the link tree. If you can't find it, let me know and I'll direct you to that. We're asking for about $5, not much. It will keep the show going. So thanks for that. For this week, we have a new guest. His name is Rylan Carter. I don't know him personally. He heard the story of one of our previous guests. Her name was Bailey, and he messaged me directly and told me he had a story to share. So we got him to come on today. So Rylan, let's have you introduce yourself.
Yeah, first of all, good to meet you guys. Thank you for having me on. My name is Rylan Carter. Uh, I just live in the Ogden area of Utah, um, Salesboro. So enough said there, I think. And yeah, I've definitely got one hell of a story for you guys.
I'm excited to hear what this is. I kind of feel like it's going to be a little sad from what the summary that you gave me, but let's get right into it.
Yeah, for sure. We'll try to avoid the sad bits as much as we can, and kind of just keep it about the actual relationship. But so yeah, basically, I had this girl. We'll call her Ruth for privacy's sake on Snapchat. Um, at the time, she was like clearly going through something with an ex who happened to share my name. So I was like, okay, yep, I'm not gonna even mess with that because that is not something I want to be a part of, right?
That's
Well,
interesting because I feel
yeah,
like your name is pretty unique.
I
Uh,
would have thought the same thing.
yeah, Jamie, do you agree with that?
Yes, I mean, I only know like maybe one other Rylan. So it's a very, very unique name.
Well, super weird side note, her two brothers are actually Rylan and Carter. So also super weird. But
Really
then
Oh,
weird.
her
that's awkward.
yeah, and then her ex was also Rylan. But anyway, so lo and behold, a few months later, I slipped up. I saw a story, completely forgot about it, like a Snapchat story. So I slid up on it, did my thing or whatever. Next thing I know, I'm at her house hanging out for the first time, meeting her, her family, her best friend. Um, Her dad was having like a barbecue.
And this
Um,
was your first time meeting her at all.
yeah, yeah,
What? That's crazy.
yeah. I'll never forget. We had like a FaceTime call before I went over, and she was like, "Can Rylan come over?" And her dad was like, "Hell no, I hate that kid." And then she's like, "No, no, no, it's different. Look." And I was like, "Okay."
Huh.
But anyway, so her dad was like pretty hesitant. He didn't like the other guy. But I did go over there. We ended up having a great night. She took me on like a drunk walk and tried to kiss me, but I wasn't drunk, so I wasn't really gonna go there. I was like, let's just get back to your house. Over the next couple weeks, we just kept talking, and she was like all over me. Obviously, being a dumb 19-year-old, I didn't catch the red flag there. She was, very much rushing into a relationship with me, despite not even going on a date or anything. We were just hanging out at her house. But,
Oh,
19-year-old me, I'm like, wow.
so that was like the first time you met with her, and she was like just trying to jump into a relationship with you.
Maybe not the first night, but like over the next couple weeks, as we continued
Okay.
talking, she definitely was. And
Okay,
yeah, like
still
I
pretty
said,
quick.
yeah, most definitely. And, like I said, I'm 19. This chick's all over me. Obviously, she's very pretty. I was like, wow, this is great. you know? So she
Hmm.
ended up actually asking me to be official like 2 weeks later, and I obliged. Um, and then about a week after that, she cheated on me for the first time, with the dude that had the same name, the ex. But anyway, she cheated, and I left because obviously I'm not stupid, or I wasn't. I don't know. Another week goes by, like I'm not with her. I'm like, okay, that was a weird 3 weeks, but whatever. Another week goes by, and here she comes apologizing, saying it'll never happen again. I'm so much better than him, blah, 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 blah. Again, being a naive 19-year
So
old.
let's go a
Yeah, go
little
ahead.
bit back to how you found out that she was cheating. Talk to us about that experience. How did you figure that out?
Her best friend sent me the screenshots of the two of them texting about the things they were up to.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, her best friend, but what do you
Well,
do?
I guess that's it tells you a lot about that dynamic between her and the best friend. So,
No kidding. But anyway, so I leave that first time. About a week goes by. She comes apologizing. Again, stupid 19-year-old. I'm like, okay, she's apologizing. We all make mistakes. I'll give her a shot, see what happens. So we start dating again. Things are going really well. So well, in fact, that her dad invited me to move in with them at their house. And at this
what?
time, yeah, super wild. It was like maybe 2 months total. But um,
I
at this
guess it's like
time,
a
yeah.
family issue. It's an entire family problem.
Oh
It's a
my
family
gosh, it's just the
affair.
tip of
Yeah.
the iceberg, brother. But anyway, at this time, I had like a less than stellar relationship with my mom. So when I moved in with my girlfriend, my mom was like, "Yeah, don't bother coming back, and that's gonna matter later." Um, so when her dad offered me to move in, obviously I jumped at the opportunity. Um, so things had been going really well. I thought it was just one mistake. I thought we moved on, right? I believe it was the same week that I moved into her dad's that she cheated again.
With
This
a
time,
different person?
nope, same dude. This time, though, I had nowhere to go, so my options were basically forgive again and forget, or be homeless. So I chatted with her, thought we'd moved on again, whatever. By this point, it was nearing the end of the year, and she cheated a third time, but I wasn't aware of it at first. Again, we'll get to that in a second. She basically told me she was going to the movies with a friend her dad didn't like, so she used a fake name for the friend. Yeah, I probably should have put it together right then and there, but I was very good at forgiveness at the time, so it didn't even click in my head what this movie theater thing was. I was like, okay, her dad doesn't like the friend, you know. As the relationship continued into the new year, she began picking fights with me about a longtime female friend that I had had.
Oh,
I had been,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So I had been friends with this girl since we were like 12 years old. She was like a sister to me. Nothing had ever happened between us, and still nothing to this day. Um, but of course, Ruth started accusing me of being unfaithful, sneaking out, all that kind of good stuff. Which kind of ironic because the second time Ruth cheated, I ended up at that best friend's house, and my best friend's friend, they were both there trying to get me to do all sorts of toxic things. They were gonna like both kiss me on the cheek, and I was gonna send it to my girlfriend at the time, and but again, not really who I am. So I was like, all right, guys, let's calm down. Let's just hang out for the night. So very much had the opportunity, but different story for a different day. Um, so anyway, we started fighting a ton, and it was really difficult. I continued to be accused of something I'd never done. And I started to realize at that point that the movie theater story didn't really add up. So I would casually ask little details about the friend, what movie they saw, why her dad didn't like her, things like that.
Like over time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It
Okay.
just it would just like replay in my head this weird movie theater incident. Um, so I would just like casually ask little details and stuff. And of course, her story varied ever so slightly every time I would ask. But then she got pregnant for the first time with me, maybe not me. I don't know. Could have been the movie theater thing. I don't know. But we continued fighting, and pretty much all trust was gone. And at this point, her dad was pretty much fed up with the both of us and kicked us both out. I don't really blame him. Um, so we, yeah, so we actually ended up moving in with my mom, which not even sure how that happened, other than like, hey, my girlfriend's pregnant. What are we gonna do?
Hmm.
Um, so again, we're at my mom's for whatever reason. I finally decided to like really really grill Ruth about what had happened at the movies that night. And that's when she finally broke down and admitted to me that she had actually gone to the movies with that same guy again, and that they had done their thing right there in the movie theater.
Oh my God.
But now she was pregnant with who was allegedly my kid. So once again, tried to forgive her, you know. But soon after that, my mom found a freaking vape that I had, and I was underage at the time. So she told us to leave. Again, don't blame her. So we got an apartment together. About a month into the new apartment, she miscarried for the first time. Obviously, it was really heartbreaking, but at the time, it brought us closer together, and suddenly all the cheating and everything was a lot easier to forget about. But we continued living in this apartment, and things were like actually decent. Fighting had kind of tapered off a lot. You know, things were going well. She had also made me cut off that best friend, which I did for whatever stupid reason, which obviously helped the arguments as well. Um, and we had kind of just forgotten about the past and everything. But because she had just miscarried and like things were going well, we started being kind of foolish about lack of protection when we would have sex. Things were good. We had an apartment and a dog now, and she had just miscarried a month or two prior. So while we're doing whatever we're doing, I get another weird gut feeling in my chest one night to check her phone, and I'm sure you can guess what I found. Um, to be fair, I'm not sure I can confirm she was cheating again this time. I just know that his name had like moved on the block list. So he had definitely been unblocked and like reblocked, you know?
Hmm.
So this is like 4 or 5 times now. But
And this is still
I'm
the same other Rylan, right?
every single time. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I was like, okay, I'm trying to forgive, you know, try not to think too much of it. And then she got pregnant a second time. um, when she got pregnant the second time, I don't know what got into me one day, but I was just like, hey, why did he move on your block list? And then we started fighting again. I was sick of being cheated on. She was probably sick of being caught, you know. I obviously should have left way sooner, but between like homelessness, pregnancy, my weird need to play Superman, I was like, all right, we'll figure this out. You're pregnant again. I'm about to be a father. Whatever. Right. That was obviously on me. I should have, left, done what I should have done. But
And how old were you at this time, at this point?
uh 20 or 21.
What? This is so crazy. Jamie, okay, so I'm 27. Jamie, you're like 28 or 27. How old are you, Jamie?
I am 30.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
I'm
we don't
old.
have
Yeah.
children, and listening to you, Rylan, say that you're 20, 21 at this point, and this was your life. This is crazy to me.
Well, it was like all this, sorry, all these like traumatic experience build up in a short period of time for someone who's going through a lot of life changes at 20 and 21. I cannot even imagine.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was definitely a lot, but it gets better. Trust me.
Okay, so keep
That
going.
Yeah. So like I said, despite all the cheating and everything, I was like, I got to play Superman for this kid and everything. And obviously, we were also super trauma bonded, so it kind of made it hard. But we ended up fighting so often and so bad that we would like miss work and all this stuff, and we ended up being evicted from that apartment. So we moved in with my dad, who was about an hour south. While we were at my dad's, she miscarried for the second time. And this time the baby was further developed, so it was a lot more to bear.
Mm,
We actually had to give like an abortion to the dead fetus. Like I had to give her the pills or whatever. But
sad.
anyway, the night she miscarried was a Sunday night, and we were supposed to start our new jobs like in my dad's neck of the woods the next day. But obviously, we were in the hospital dealing with the miscarriage, so we both missed our first days at work. And my dad was like, "All right, y'all got to go. You're not working." So we moved into another apartment closer to our other families, but we were still fighting all the time. Um, that said, the second miscarriage like ended up bringing us closer together once we kind of got through it and we're settled in the new apartment. So we're in our new apartment. We can actually afford it. Foolishly began trying for a kid. Two miscarriages just does something to you, or like you have to have it. I don't know. Sure enough, she got pregnant a third time. This time, we waited until he was past 20 weeks to say anything to family, because after 20 weeks is when you can no longer miscarry. So he made it past 20 weeks, and we were like beyond thrilled, right? We told family about it, started buying baby stuff, the whole nine. We ended up getting married in the courthouse, just kind of on our own, because, I thought we were ready to be a family. And things were good at this point. We had pretty much stopped arguing. We were going on dates again, working hard for our boy, all the things. I also hadn't seen or heard anything from about the other dude since like the block list thing. So I thought everything was good. This part's tough. And then 2 days before Ruth was meant to be induced to have our son, he passed away at 39 weeks. We never found out why. And this was easily like the most devastating thing. We had, done
That's so sad.
everything, clothes, diapers, cribs, like all of it, right? Um, and obviously we're blessed a ton by friends and family. But he had a name, we'd seen countless ultrasounds, and very much had a relationship with him, even in the womb. Next thing we know, we're at his funeral.
Sad.
I couldn't even
Thir-
imagine.
yeah. 38 days after that, she left me. The very same night she left me, that other dude pops up on my Facebook, people you may know.
Of course.
What?
I thought this was strange since we didn't have any mutuals, but lo and behold, I go look, and sure enough, Ruth and him are friends again on there that same night, like a month after our kid died. So naturally, I called that girl best friend I was talking about before and asked her to come over. She couldn't that night, um, but she was able to show up the next day. And this part's kind of hilarious, but my friend and I were sitting there just talking, like she was just being there for me. And then we just hear bang, bang, bang on the front door. And we just look at each other because we know, you know, there's Ruth slamming on the door, telling me to open it because she had decided to come back the very next day to get her things. Makes sense. So I opened the door and I opened it like half an inch and she kicks it in, talking, get that bitch out of my apartment. All we could do was laugh,
Right.
which obviously in hindsight made us look way suspicious, but we were literally just talking. It was just like so absurd, that all we could do was laugh. Um, but anyway, me and my best friend end up just like waiting on the back patio while Ruth and her little gang got all her stuff. Ruth left, and then my friend and I hung out for a little bit longer, and she left. About 4 months later, here comes Ruth again, apologetic, telling me we wanted a second, really like a seventh or eighth chance. And, maybe I was just grieving or lost in the sauce, but once again, I obliged. Probably because we
What?
had, I know.
Holy crap.
Well,
Like, okay, keep going.
So I obliged. I think I had a lot to do with our son, but I did have one condition. I was like, I need you to be honest with me about why you were friends with him that same night. To keep it brief, according to what she told me, she had ended up on the couch with him that night. They didn't even make it to a bed. So that obviously crushed me because that was, 38 days after our kid had died, and there she is on the couch with this dude.
So,
But
how was this impacting her? So, your kid dies.
mhm.
Is she as thrown off and mourning this the same way that you are, or is she just like, oh, whatever, let's go find somebody else?
It's hard to say, I can't really speculate on what she was feeling. All I know was what I saw, which was
right.
I didn't see a ton of sadness. I didn't see a ton of what just happened. She kind of just kept living normally, which maybe is just her trauma response. I don't know.
Mm,
you know.
yeah,
And then
it could be either way. It could be like that
mhm,
she's really messed up in the head, which I'm going with
That
based off
part.
of what you've told me, or that you're right. It could be that that's the way that people deal with things sometimes. It could be a mix of both.
mhm. right?
80/20. Yeah,
I like to say
80%
she
crazy.
replaced
Yeah.
me because of the name thing, you know. That's what I kind of cling on to is she felt the need to replace me because, you know, I couldn't give her what she needed, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so she told me how they ended up on the couch together, all that good stuff. And keep in mind, during all of this, we're still legally married, right? Like when she left, we never got divorced. So that 4 month period, we were still married. She comes back, we're still married, right? Well, I had moved out of that apartment when the lease was up. So at this point, we needed to stay somewhere. So we went to her cousin's place and then my sister's. And obviously, at this point, we were horrendous for each other. You know, I had slept around a ton during the time apart. She had apparently done the same. You know, we would fight all day and then have some wicked makeup sex at the end of the night. And obviously, we were still grieving our son. So I think toxic would be putting it lightly. um,
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah.
ironically, another 4 months later, I don't know what this 4 months thing is, but 4 months after we got back together, she left me again.
What is this bitch? Like, this is so crazy to listen to.
Yeah. This time, I finally stood my ground and I was like, okay, you need to get out of my sister's house. Well, I don't know how she took it other than you can't get your stuff because she called the cops on me and for like a civil standby while she got her stuff. Because I told her to get the fuck out of my sister's. But she gets her stuff, she leaves. This time, when she left, this like last time, she tried to go back to the other dude, but he was sick of her shit too at this point. So instead, she gets with her, it's like, excuse my lack of like terminology here, but like her transgender best friend coworker who was like female to male. Um, and that new boyfriend has a kid with the same name as our kid that passed away. Yeah,
What
yeah.
is happening? Like this, it's like someone has put like a weird spell on you. Like this is what it sounds like to me. This is really weird.
Names. It's yeah.
You are telling me it's been a lot to like try and make straight in my head, but um it's been about 2 years since all of that. Our son passed away July of 23. She left for the last time, like, I don't even know, like March or April of 24. Um, so for those 2 years, we were like, okay, we need to get divorced. And I was like, you obviously hate me. So, like, can we just have a regular divorce? We don't have a ton of stuff to split up. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. Right. So I file all the paperwork, and now she's refusing to divorce me. She's like, I want to get a lawyer. So I'm like, all right, get a lawyer. You know what I mean? Well, for that entire 2 years, she couldn't afford one. And she finally one day, I guess, just filed anyway without a lawyer and decided to let me know. So I was like, bet, let's do it, you know? So our divorce got finalized in January. So that's really good.
Well,
And
congratulations. Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I actually found out while I was traveling. Um, let's see. So Ruth, my ex, is Filipina, and ironically, that is exactly where I was traveling to. Not on purpose either, just like an old friend had randomly hit me up and asked if I wanted to go to Southeast Asia with him in January. And I said yes before I even asked which countries we were going to. I was like, I need a trip, you know? When I did find out the Philippines was a part of it, I very much made it about my son, obviously, because he has Filipino blood as well. So I'm in Vietnam and I get an email from Ruth. Our divorce is finalized. Naturally, being the one that needed the last word, I thanked her and told her it was very hard to get that info as I was in Vietnam and the time zones were so different. I then included how I'd be spreading some of our son's ashes in the Philippines, which is kind of funny. I had always promised the both of them, even while he was in the womb, that I would take him back one day to the Philippines. Obviously, I couldn't take her, but I still kept the promise to the best of my ability, which meant a ton to me. But anyway,
Absolutely.
our divorce had been finalized. You know, we were both moved on. I thought that was the last of it. Then my birthday happened in February. So my brother had an apartment, and sometime before I went to Asia, Ruth moved into the apartment directly next to his. So like I could see
What?
Okay,
both of
there is some sort of weird spell on you. You need, I am not kidding you. You need like some sort of like shaman
the
or
therapy.
energy worker or therapy, obviously, or all of the above, because this is not normal.
Oh, I know it. I know it. I say it all the time. My life is a movie, but wouldn't change it for the world. But anyway, so my birthday happens. My She moves into the apartment next to my brother's, right? And it was like whatever, you know. Well, my brother, his work is right next to my house. So on my birthday, he hits me up and says, "Yo, I want to come over and hang out for your birthday." I was like, "Okay, cool." So he just walks over from work, right after, and we're just chilling there. Decide we want some female accompaniment. Um, so he asked me to run into his apartment real quick so he could get like some clothes and shower stuff. So of course I ran him over there, didn't think anything of it. So we get to his apartment. I park up. I'm not really thinking anything. Then Ruth drives by, and I'm like, "Oh, her. Whoop de doo." Again, not really thinking of anything. Went back to scrolling while I waited for my brother to come back out. He gets back in the car. We take off, and no more than 5 minutes later, we're being pulled over. The cop
What?
comes. Yeah. So the cop comes to my window, asks for me by name, says, "Are you Rylan?" And I was like, "What the hell?" At first, I thought I had like a tail light out or something, and then she said my name, and I was like, "Did they see something I said on the internet?" Like, you know, still not even thinking like anything about my ex. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Rylan." And the cop goes, "Okay, I guess we got a call from an ex-wife that was concerned that you were like in her parking lot or something." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So I I think she could like see the look on my face because I was like, "Ma'am, my brother lives in that same complex. It's my birthday. I was just taking him to grab some things." And the cop was actually super chill. I think she could kind of see through the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like she didn't ask for my ID or anything like that. She just asked for my phone number, but that's nothing. Like I said, that was back in the middle of February, and that's pretty much the last I've heard. Of course, I've heard a bunch of rumors, like she likes to tell people I killed our son or cheated on her or whatever.
What
And
in the world?
yeah. And if that's what she needs to find peace and leave me the hell alone, so be it. But yeah, that's pretty much the story. I'm sure I missed a
When
lot
you
of parts and
say
details.
when you say February, you mean just like a couple weeks ago?
Yep. Yeah.
Like
She has a
last year, February.
like like 2 months ago or a month ago. Yeah, a month ago.
Um, oh no, this is so
Like 32
fresh.
days ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. But that's pretty much where the story is now. Like I said, I'm sure I missed lots of parts and details, but that's kind of the general gist of everything that went down. And obviously, it broke me, but in the time since, I think I've rebuilt myself into something most people don't even have the courage to become, honestly. And I'm at peace, and I hope she finds the same.
Wow. This is like a wow story.
Yeah.
Like
Sorry if I kind of ran through it a little bit. I was trying to keep
no,
it under 35 minutes. I
No.
no,
know
you
there's
were you were great.
a
Usually,
lot.
so usually we have our stories, so it's usually women or gay men who are telling
Hmm.
stories on here. And so it's usually the
Hmm.
villains are men. And this like blows most of those out of the water. And like the woman in this case is the villain. Like this
And
Yeah.
is
she needs a
wild.
hobby. She needs a hobby. Yeah.
Well, her hobby is finding different ways to pick on me, apparently.
Yeah, maybe a
But
new one like reading books or going for walks. Something that's a little bit better.
yeah, unfortunately, I don't think normal exists in her world, you know.
Unfortunately,
But
yeah. Sounds like it doesn't.
and I'm sure I played my own villainous part. I probably overreacted at times to things, you know,
Well,
Well,
I
I
think
whatever
mean,
the
being cheated
case.
on that many times would warrant an overreaction.
Well, I was going to say you took accountability of the situation, and this is not me knowing everything that for sure happened, right? Like you were sharing and you owned your part of like your mistakes. So I feel like if people can recognize the problems that they have created or attributed to, right? Like I feel like that helps wipe your slate clean.
Well, thanks, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I stayed so long, you know. I definitely should have bounced more than once, but a lot of it, you know, she was pregnant a lot of the time, and like I said, I got this su- superhero complex, you know. So, but
God,
yeah,
crazy. So
I
where
thought
are
it was
you?
necessary. Oh, go ahead.
Where are you? So you said that you're at peace with this now. Like, is this something that because obviously this is a very fresh experience. Is this like, are you still dealing with this like emotionally? I'm assuming you are. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so obviously I'm in a lot of therapy, like trauma therapy every week, you know, anti-anxiety medications, anti-nightmare medications, things like that.
Mm,
Um, but I'm at the point where I can kind of accept what happened for what happened, you know, and just use it as a learning experience. And like I said, I kind of felt it necessary to share so like other men know what to look out for
yeah.
because there's definitely a couple things I missed. But yeah, it's like I said, I got to spread my son's ashes in the Philippines, which was, like I said, a huge promise I had always made to the both of them. Obviously, she didn't want to be a part of that. That's, you know, her choice. But
I
getting
also
to
think
do
it's more
that was,
peaceful. I think you had a peaceful moment. I think someone else caused you a lot of hurt and anger, right? And so I think you were able to do something that you wanted to do, and it was on your terms, and you were able to do it, and it was
mhm,
peaceful, right? And it was something that meant a lot to you. So I think that's important as well.
yeah, for sure. And I got to spread his ashes in every country I went to. So
That's
Thailand,
beautiful.
Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I definitely spread some of his ashes out there. um, but it was that trip kind of shifted something in me that that I think helped a ton.
Well, from what I can tell, like you are a very strong person and you give people a lot of grace and forgiveness, probably more than you should have, especially in this
Not these days.
situation. But yeah, I think, like you're young. I mean, you're probably still in your early 20s, and so
Yep, I'm
hopefully it's
24 now.
just great from here. But yeah, Rylan, thanks for coming on telling this story. This was like really crazy, but crazy in a good way because I think a lot of people will listen to this and be like, wow, maybe I don't have it so horrible. That's my opinion. Um,
I always say like I try not to compare because I may have drowned in 10 feet of water, but the next person might drown in 2 feet of water. We're
that's
both drowning,
true. That's very
you know?
true. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. For the listeners, as always, make sure you subscribe and save. We're streaming anywhere you can get your podcasts. And make sure you rate us as well. That helps us with the algorithms. Follow us on social media. It's Romance Unraveled on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you have a story you'd like to share, like Rylan just did, you can reach out to me directly on one of those platforms and I'll get you scheduled to come out onto the show. Until next time.